You know, in the world of celebrity, it's a very, very thin and fickle world. Let me tell you, I've worked with celebrities for years. They love you while you're making them money, getting them on the front pages, you know, getting them in magazines, all of that sort of stuff. If they're having top 10 hits, you're a genius. If their box office film bombs, well, you're a failure and you need to be fired. It's never their fault. You know, the sort of thing I'm talking about. It's fascinating to think, though, that, of course, the now celebrities, rather than, of course, senior or ex-royals Harry and Meghan, have decided once again to distance themselves from what was supposed to be a very close friend. As ever, let me explain. Morning, nice to see you today as ever, and thank you so much for taking the time out to join me. Yes, this is really Downing Street. It's not a green screen. It's where I'm based on many a day, let me tell you, when I'm not making videos for you. I'll just show you so you can see as we're going round. I know I've shown some other people on another previous video, but you might enjoy it if you haven't clicked on that one yet. Look at the history around here. It's incredible, isn't it? You know, when you think, I love Downing Street because, as I've often said, you think of all the wonderful people that have walked up that street, and as we all know, you tend to leave Downing Street, by the way, in a bit more of a less fanfare than you do when you first arrive, promising the world, and then of course you leave normally with a removal van and the back door at your home. That's showbiz, though. A little bit like this particular story. Let me explain. You see, basically, Harry and Meghan have found that in the world of celebrity, you've got to be very careful who you associate yourself with. As we saw with Meghan, she hooked up with Ellen DeGeneres, and then Ellen DeGeneres basically got booted off mainstream television, apparently because of her toxic, workfare culture behind the scenes. And again, there's one side to every story, but that's what can happen. Now, with Harry and Meghan, as you can imagine, with them looking to launch themselves as lifestyle gurus, in particular Meghan herself, she's got to do something about how she can make sure people understand her plot and how she's going to get out there. One person that they were looking towards to do something with, and they have to remain nameless for legal reasons, is the celebrity pal that Prince Harry decided to sit down and have a chat with on his chat show. Remember when he was launching Spare? And it was the thing that had all a sort of, fake royalty at the beginning, Tom Hanks, all of that sort of stuff. You know the thing I'm talking about. Now, what was interesting here was that I was told from an excellent source that CBS, Meghan and her team were indeed in the throes of discussing perhaps a sit-down chat regarding her forthcoming podcast whenever we see that. And that would have made perfect sense. He was pretty amicable towards Prince Harry. Of course, all the questions were known in advance. You understand how this game works now. What's fascinating, though, is that according to that very well-placed source, both Meghan and Harry have pulled the plug on any association or any further talks regarding coming forward for a chat. Now, as I say, the legalities of this, you have to work the bit out yourself. But as you know, he recently gave a monologue in a very disgraceful way about senior members of the British monarchy. Since then, of course, cease and desist has gone under the shall we say, letterbox, and so that will never happen again. Those scurrilous, unfounded rumours, of course, which were terrible, as one can imagine, for anybody to read. Now, whichever side you land on, and as ever, I know I'll get blasted for this, but I'm just simply bringing you what I know. I think this is the right decision, obviously, for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Meghan and Harry, whatever they now want to call themselves, because it would prove incredibly damaging. But what a terrible situation to find yourself in. And the one thing I would say about this whole particular story, at the time when that came out, I was incredibly stunned as to how they got that through the CBS lawyers, But I was told because it was in monologue form and a comedy skit, that really wouldn't be seen as a problem. It's turned into a problem, as one can imagine. And now, clearly, Harry and Meghan have seen the light of day, albeit very discreetly. But if ever, one has to say the very much right decision. Interesting how things develop over a few days, isn't it? Neil Sean in the very heart of Downing Street, London.